I don't know if I'm going to stick with criminal justice after I graduate or if I'm going to go into a different career path. I could be open to it. I've had some other offers and opportunities arise too that I've sort of looked into, but I really just don't know what I'm doing. So like kind of just praying for some vision and direction from God on where He's trying to lead me in life next, I guess. My favorite part of it was probably actually doing some of the work and kind of getting that experience in the workplace with Ron on a lot of the stuff. It's been really interesting learning a lot of things because just there's sort of a difference between what you learn in the classroom versus real life. You know, you get out there and then it's like you kind of forget everything you learned in the classroom. But I feel like it was a really good opportunity too, and I'm like thankful to God that, you know, the opportunity was provided because it kind of also just revealed a lot of strengths and weaknesses. And some of them I was kind of aware of, but it made them a little bit more prevalent and more apparent to me. And I think that was really good. I mean, I also liked the content that we were doing on the weekly meetings and meeting with Zach too. I think there's value in all of those things, but I think honestly I found like the most value in the practical experience in the field and the one-on-one meetings with Zach. Some of the things that I was able to learn from this experience, I mean, that I think God taught me. I don't know if it's so much a case of necessarily things about Him, but how I like interact with other people and how to relate with them. Like I kind of realized some of the weaknesses that I kind of have to depend on others for a little bit more, and just sort of being a little more humbled by some of those things, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I kind of learned through some of those experiences that were a little bit more humbling. Like, you know, hey, you can't do this all on your own. I feel like that's sort of like a reminder almost of like, you know, our need for God and for Jesus. You know, it's like, so it's kind of weird because it's like I feel like God's taught me some things about myself, but also kind of about how I relate to Him at the same time. Just in that, you know, certain areas, you know, everyone's weaker in, and when you know those, it's kind of like makes you feel a little more okay asking for help with that, but like there's always the need for support from God, you know, because we can't do anything on our own without His assistance or Him allowing it, really, you know. Yeah, I think sort of in realizing like the weaknesses that I have, I kind of like grew a little more humble in certain areas, if that makes sense, and a little quicker to be willing to ask for help. I mean, I've always kind of been stubborn, but I feel like that's probably the area that I've seen the most change in, is just the humility to admit that I don't understand what's going on here sometimes. Because especially like in like the way it shows up the most often is it's like I'm just at the desk and Ron will say, hey, can you like find like these 5 different documents, and he names out all of them. And I mean, legal documents typically have 4 or 5 words per name and 5 syllables and half the words in them, and it's like, okay, slow down please, just I need a moment to like process this, you know. And so it's been interesting because it's like I definitely have to admit to him, I'm like, okay, I can't find the thing. And he's like, it's just the situation, you know, where you like tell your parent you can't find like the thing in the fridge, and then they get up and look for it and find it in 5 seconds, you know. So it's pretty much just like, yeah, I can't do this on my own, you know. It's the humility in that, I feel like, is an area that I've grown in a bit, just being more willing to ask for help with that, you know. So I had previously considered the position that I've applied for. I was thinking I was going to be graduating last summer, but due to some circumstances with UNF, I wasn't able to until this spring. And I was sort of already feeling sort of called to that last year, but I feel like with the content from the journey and just processing things with Zach, I kind of came to like a more confident conclusion of this is where it seems that God's calling me at this stage of life right now, which I guess is a little bit different than some people who might be like just searching entirely for any direction, you know. It's like I kind of had a little bit of direction coming in and wasn't certain about it, but there were definitely like from the Strength Finders tests and a couple of other things that we did, the personality questionnaire tests, I found like sort of some indication that I thought I might be able to be skilled in those areas, and it sort of seemed like due to that it might be God calling me towards those or having designed me to be able to work in those sorts of environments. I would tell other young people who are considering the Co-Passion journey that it's a really good opportunity for you to be able to learn more about yourself as an individual, and how God's designed you, and also just kind of how He might be guiding your life and what He could be calling you to, at least in this current season of life. And it will also be a good opportunity for you to grow closer to other believers who can spur you along in your journey.